Let's talk about typical depression versus clinical depression. To a certain extent, each and every one of us, whether we're clinically diagnosed with depression or not, are going to have depressing moments in our lives. We're going to have that feeling of depression. Does that mean there's something wrong with us? Does that mean we're messed up? Does that even mean we're clinically depressed, especially if we haven't been diagnosed, right? Not necessarily, right? So what is the difference in my opinion? And I'm going to clearly put out my disclaimer here and say that I am not a doctor. I am not a psychologist. And these are just my opinions. And I am not telling you folks to agree or disagree with my opinions. These are just my opinions. These are situations I've experienced and how I've handled them. I do not have clinical depression, but I've had many moments in my life where things didn't go my way, and I gave a lot to certain things in my life, and they didn't pan out, especially past relationships, and it put me in a state of depression. And I'm going to share with you folks how I worked through that to move forward in life and continue being the person that I am and continue moving forward to create greatness. What would I call typical depression? Typical depression to me would be, for example, let's go back to my previous relationship with my ex. It was a great relationship. And she ended up breaking up with me because of a bunch of things. Primarily, we were both on my past YouTube channel. We both got trolled and harassed, and I didn't know how to handle it as well as I do now, right? Because I really, really enjoyed that relationship. It was probably the best relationship I ever had. That relationship, especially her, she set a precedent for the type of woman I'm looking for in the future. When she broke it off with me, I took it pretty hard. I even came out here on YouTube and did a 33-minute meltdown video to share my thoughts about it. Who knows? Maybe I'll re-upload that video to this channel so you folks can see what I did, right? I'm not ashamed of what I did. But the reason why I did that is because I was feeling depressed. I was feeling hurt. And I had that feeling like I couldn't breathe. I had that feeling like I'm never going to find someone like this again, right? So how did I work through that? I had sleepless nights. It was really hard for me to keep pushing forward. I was still working my insurance job during that time. It consumed me, right? It was always on my mind. And I was just thinking to myself, I really wish I had another chance with this woman, right? That's a normal feeling. It's an absolutely normal feeling. So how did I get over it? What did I do? Well, the first thing I did was I deleted my former YouTube channel. It had to go. There was too much craziness happening on there. And I said to myself, I'm never going to come back to YouTube again. It's too crazy. I'm going to go to Facebook and I'm going to do live streams on Facebook. And I went on Facebook and did some live streams. And I was talking about it. I was sharing my experiences, right? And I did it for many reasons. Number one, I did it because I really wanted to share with people what I was going through. But number two, and probably the primary reason I did it for, it made me feel better to talk about it, right? Now, most of you would say, what about talking about it with family and your friends? Well, they'll talk with you about it one time, but after that one time, they don't want to keep hearing it, right? And you're not going to get over something and work through a depressed feeling if you only talk about it one time. It takes a while to work through it. In my case, it took me about 3 months to work through it by doing public live streams on Facebook, sharing my stories and sharing what I feel I did wrong and blah, 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 right? And then what happened after that? I decided to come back to YouTube and start a new channel because I realized that, hey, YouTube is the best video platform and I shouldn't give up on my goals, my dreams, my aspirations of being a coach to help other people work through this stuff. Just because of what happened to me in the past. I made some mistakes, right? And they were honest mistakes, and they cost me something I cared about more than most things I've ever cared about in my life. My past relationship was amazing. It was an amazing relationship from the beginning to the end, right? But hey, it was out of my control. And you know what? She was right for doing what she did. And I had to find ways to work through it. One of them was doing those videos. Number two, outside of those videos, I would exercise, and I still do. I exercise every day. And I take walks every day. On the weekends, I go hiking. And then additionally, what did I do? I went out there and I started putting myself back out on the dating market. Initially, I was just looking to find someone to hang out with in a similar situation like I have with the activity partner that I still have to this day. And occasionally we'll go hiking and do some stuff, right? That helps, right? Even if you're not intimate with someone, even if you're just friends with someone, which most guys out there are looking for more than a friendship with a woman. But at this point, at least back during those days, few years back, I just wanted to meet someone that was in a similar situation and just have someone to go hiking with. And I just prefer going hiking with women because they're better conversationalists about things I can talk about compared to men, right? I've gone hiking with my friends, and again, they don't want to hear this stuff, right? Women are great listeners. They have their own issues, and then you can hear their issues and have a great conversation while going out in the woods and getting some exercise, breathing in the fresh air, and also letting those endorphins flow. I will tell you folks, your endorphins, the feel-good hormone, is what you need to release to help you feel better regardless of what you're going through. If you're in a depressed state, in my opinion, what starts to make you feel better is kicking in those endorphins into overdrive. And the best way to do that is to take walks, take hikes, exercise. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're accomplishing something and you're getting yourself in better shape. And you just feel like I said, you accomplish something, right? So if you're in a depressed state, and I say this regarding typical depression, which is different than clinical depression, that's the way to get over it. And it's not going to happen overnight. But if you get on a regimen and go walking every day and go hiking on the weekends and exercise almost every day, if not every day, within a 2 to 3 month period, things are going to start to feel better. And each and every day that you do this, you're going to start to feel a little less depressed. Okay? Now, if you're not able to work through it after a certain amount of time, 2 or 3 months, and this is not helping, and you've never been diagnosed with clinical depression, my advice would be to go see a doctor and get diagnosed. Okay, let them know, hey, go to your primary care physician, let them know this is what you're going through. You have to always start at your primary care physician. Let them know what you're going through, and they may refer you to a specialist doctor like a psychologist, psychiatrist, or somebody that's licensed and someone that has a degree that can help you work through that. And that's what I recommend for you folks to do. But again, look, when you look at depression, every single human being, whether they're clinically depressed or not, is going to go through depressing times, right? And it's going to feel like you are suffering from depression when you're really not. You're just dealing with you're dealing with a depressing type of thing in your life, right? Two things when it comes to men that hurt us and make us feel depressed for a while and basically bring out our emotions, right? The number one thing is when a man is financially unstable. It's the worst feeling in the world because us being able to provide for ourselves and others is what makes us feel we're relevant, and it's our purpose, right? The purpose of the man has always been to be the provider. And if we can't even provide for ourselves and we're not financially stable, that's going to put us in a depressed state. Does that mean we're suffering from clinical depression? No, we're just in a rough spot, right? And we know it. And it doesn't make us feel good because that's not a masculine thing to not be successful and be able to provide, right? The number two thing that hurts men is when we finally commit to a woman, we tell her that we love her and we're emotionally attached, and then she breaks up with us for whatever reason. That hurts because we got used to that and we really liked that. It was balancing us out and making us feel good. And now all of a sudden it's taken away from us. So we're feeling that depressed state again. Again, does that mean that you're clinically depressed? Not necessarily, but you never know, right? Again, in my opinion, the way to find out is you got to work on yourself. When you go through that breakup, or if you're struggling financially, you got to strive to fix that issue of your finances. You have to also strive to work through that breakup. Again, the best thing to do is to exercise every day, walk at the park, or walk wherever, walk in your neighborhood, take hikes on the weekends, get on a treadmill, whatever. Get those endorphins flowing. And if after 2 or 3 months of doing that almost every day, if not each and every day, If you're not feeling better, then at that point, you may possibly be struggling with or dealing with clinical depression. You've got to go see your primary care physician and go from there, because some people might have depression as a clinical thing, and you may need to get on medication for that.